is always a delight to welcome Lily Tang Williams to the New Hampshire Journal podcast. She is the front runner in the Republican primary to take on Maggie Goodlander in the 2nd Congressional District. Lily, welcome back to the podcast.
Great to be back here. Thank you, Michael.
I recognize, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, you see it. For those of you listening on audio, you don't. But I recognize your set because whenever I turn on Fox News or News Nation or anybody, there you are. You are doing more TV than Donald Trump. It's amazing.
Well, I think this week is especially very busy because, of course, that the spy story in California and big China trip with the president and all the cabinet members. And of course, I have been very, very active on social media, so people know my story and know my messages about China, about the CCP spy, about their project in New Hampshire. So I have a lot to say. So people start to get me, I'm hopefully that's a good thing. Hey, there's no bad press, right?
There's no bad press at all. So listen, I want to ask you, I was going to ask you about China in a second, but since you've already brought it up, let's talk about it. What did you think of the president's trip to Beijing? What did you think of his comments about Chairman Xi? And where is America's relationship with China today, in your opinion?
I think that they went to China with a position of strength. China is our largest adversary, but also the second largest economy and a huge influencer behind Iran, Russia, North Korea. Right now, we do need to engage with them to pressure Iran to open up the strait. And they're hurting too. I heard my Chinese people, friends. I still have lots of first-ground information from China. Sure. The gas price is super high there right now. Like people start riding bicycles against $10 a gallon. So they, and also China economy has been very weak because they, trade deals, and also because, Xi Jinping locked down the entire country during COVID years. He's the one who is responsible, brought down companies and brought down China's economy. And he had to purge his political enemies because lots of internal power struggle trying to top his positions. He purged 4 generals already, so forget about war to Taiwan. But the thing is that we need to engage with them because we still cannot totally decouple with China. We are relying on them for supplies, rare earths, and working in the international stage. And basically right now, more urgently, we need them to pressure Iran to open up strait and promise you will never, never have nuclear weapons.
And do you support President Trump's decision to confront Iran over nuclear weapons and to engage in this military action?
Well, I supported his temporary military action to confront Iran to take care of this long-standing, problem and threat to the United States and world peace in the Middle East. But now it seems like what I had 3-4 weeks now is lasting 3 months now. So we do need to wrap up because the granite staters feel their pain at the pump right now. That's top issue on my campaign trail. The diesel is like a $5.50 or something. And that's going to drive up food costs and drive up inflation. So we do need to come back to focus on domestic agenda to wrap this up as soon as possible. That's why I think he went to China, the first place.
Just to get them to help out and put more leverage on Iran and get this to end.
Yeah, because, China is a big loser. And our, pain, and of course, the Iran economy is about to collapse themselves. But they're not jobs. They're crazy regime. Will they put their economy, their people first? I don't know. So they only listen to their boss, and their boss could be China. China supplies them weapons, supplies them sometimes economical assistance. So if China can tell them lock that off, and we all are hurting now. So that's why I think that engagement in China is important.
One of the things I always love about talking with you, Lily, is that you talk about the Constitution and how America is supposed to work. I remember asking you when the superhero movies were all the big thing. I was asking all the candidates in the debate, who would your superhero be? And you chose George Washington, which was the best answer ever. So what is the role of Congress, in your opinion, when it comes to foreign policy? Some people think the president does foreign policy and Congress, all they can do is just either give him money or not. That's the end of the story. Other people say, no, Congress should be more of a partner and bring the will of the people to guide foreign policy. If you were in Congress right now, whether it's China, Iran, Russia, what would you see as the role as a member of Congress when it comes to foreign policy?
Well, if people study Constitution, the U.S. Congress has absolute authority to declare war. If we are going to
Right.
have a formal war, like let's say put 60,000
Sure.
troops, 30,000 troops on the ground, and
Right.
also that the Emergency Power Act, it was supposed to be only for 60 days. So now we're talking about bigger issue. I think ideally the Congress should exercise that authority after emergency power ends. But right now, you know how Congress, their approval ratings
Right.
were under 10%. They have not been doing their job. You know, both
Right.
basically, Michael, both parties are responsible for our
Right.
country's today's fiscal mess, you know, just fiscal cliff.
Mm.
So they have not done their job. And I'm hoping
Right.
that I can help to facilitate that, to say, hey, Constitution said this.
Mm.
I am a constitutional conservative or
Right.
libertarian conservative. I like to say Congress to actually play a bigger
Right.
role, exercise their authority over lots of things in our country. They cannot
Right.
just, be dysfunctional and give
Sure.
away. They're supposed to do their job. Otherwise, why do we elect them and pay them?
So one more thing on foreign policy, then I'm going to go to the domestic stuff. Your likely opponent in November, Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander, as you know, is married to Jake Sullivan, who was a longtime advisor to Joe Biden. He's part of this project to try to bring back the JCPOA. She's been very negative about the Trump foreign policy, and she even suggested that people in the military should think carefully before they carry out an order from their commanders, which raised a lot of questions. What would where do you differ? Like where are the points of that you differ the most on foreign policy and national security with Maggie Goodlander?
I have two sons are veterans. I understand that the process they go through. What do they say? The so-called seditious six Democrats video. What do they
Right.
say? Might be legal for them to say it, but the implication is just terrifying. So
Right.
basically, they all have a severe TDS, but they don't think about
We
the
have to stop right there.
application.
Lily, not everybody lives on the internet. TDS means Trump derangement syndrome for the people who are
Yeah.
listening. Got to include them. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, there are certain procedures, process for people to follow, and like
Mhm.
if they think that certain orders are not constitutional, under legal, but
Right.
they come out together, make this viral video, put on TikTok, everyone's social media. It's immature, it's not professional, it's
Mhm.
potentially terrifying to undermine our commander in chief. I will never do something like that. If you have disagreement, there is a way for you to do it. It's called
Right.
the U.S. House floor, right? You
Mhm.
committees and
Right.
meetings. And what she did is totally just not mature. It can get our military people, especially young people who listen to
Right.
those politicians, ruin your life and ruin their career by going to
Sure.
potentially court, military court. So I call her out on that. I will never do something like that because I think that's her job is to serve people
Right.
in the New Hampshire in our district. Why did she act like that? She was like one of the progressive and sex and radical left. Look what she just did, right? Even destroy, not to vote to support our police in this,
Right.
National Police Week. So I
Right.
think her husband, Jake Sullivan, might be behind some of the things she says. She also votes with her party 99% of time.
Right.
She's a DNC party puppet. She lack of
Right.
independent thinking and independent judgment. So I like to say her acting more in
Right.
line with New Hampshire advantage, leave free or die
Mhm.
values, but she act like sometimes just puppet. And for the party, who knows how much Jake Sullivan is involved behind her foreign policy.
So I don't endorse candidates, but I will say this: if people are watching, Lily Tang Williams never would have done what Representative Goodlander did on this Police Week thing, not because of the police part. So what happened is Republicans put out a resolution for Police Week, and they mention things that they know the Democrats aren't going to like they mention ICE, and they say Donald Trump did a good job and whatever. So a bunch of Democrats voted it. No, I'm not going to support this resolution. About 30 did, including Congressman Chris Pappas from New Hampshire, but most of them voted no. But Maggie Goodlander did something that Lily Tang Williams would never do. She voted present. In other words, I'm not going to pick a side. I will say this about you, Lily, whether people agree or disagree with you, they know what side you're on. You're not a person who votes present and refuses to give an opinion.
Well, my convictions principles are pretty clear. Also, I put them above a party. And I do in line with lots of founding fathers, what Americans' ideals are like. And
right.
I mean, it's okay to negotiate a compromise on some bills, but a simple resolution to show where you stand,
Exactly.
you support our law enforcement. Now, that's the most simple, fundamental thing. You can easily vote me. Even you have to give Chris Papa some,
exactly.
credit. Yeah, but Maggie is 39 years old. I'm not surprised she voted president, because when during the George Floyd riots, protests, she wanted her elite private school money to go to those anti-police organizations, defund the police. So she's a lot more progressive. And but she portrays herself in her ads as she's a moderate, like she will spend money, for example, on Facebook to do Facebook ads. I support term limit, but she wants to limit Supreme Court and the Congress, but she refused to sign the pledge to limit the Congress term limits. So I call her out. Talk is cheap, Maggie. Sign it. I signed every cycle. I signed 3 cycles already. Term limits. I also signed 3 cycles. No new taxes.
Right. So let's talk about taxes and the economy. You talked about how people in the Granite State are hurting right now. Gas prices getting close to $5 a gallon, et cetera. What are 1 or 2 things that Congress could be doing to help people in the United States when it comes to the cost of living?
Number 1, we need to watch for our continue to borrow money and print money we don't have in order to continue the out of control spending. And now we need to get rid of the fraud. The fraud money amount is huge. I don't see lots of mainstream media cover the fraud. Sure. Might not so much in New Hampshire, but when you look at California, New York, and make your blood boil, our hard-earned taxpayers' money go to those people. Our law is stupid. Used to be, they don't even investigate fraud. If you don't steal $1 million from federal taxpayers, are you kidding me? How long this been existing? You give people incentive to go steal just under $1 million. So now I'm glad they are repealing that law.
Sure.
And the JD Vance is leading the charge. That's lots of savings. We want to get that money back. And also, with that savings, you could really spend on people who truly are in need, like the Medicare, Medicaid. And also, we could use some of the money savings to cut spending and pay down, a national debt. I'm really worried. Nobody talks about this, Michael. Almost $40 trillion national debt. $1 trillion a year to go to pay interest alone. How are our young people going to have economic opportunities in this country and have a shot at their American dream? That's why I have so many young people volunteer for my campaign, because they know I'm fighting for their future. I have 3 young adults children. One just got laid off recently by a bank after 10 years working for a bank over an email, no severance package. I do worry about our economy and job markets. And all those issues involved with the AI and the massive laying off of congratulations, all the college graduates. But hey, how are your economic opportunity right now? So to bring down that inflation and mortgage rate to make a housing more affordable, we do have to bring down federal spending. How about to start with just a simple as a zero-based budgeting and single issue bills?
Right. So, what happens is when someone says we want to cut spending, everyone goes, great. And then we say, okay, I want to cut that specific program right there, whatever it is. And people go, oh, no, I need that program. Cut his program. So what do you say to people who say if you cut, you're going to be taking money from the children, from people who need it, from the elderly. That cutting is a sign that you're heartless and don't care about your fellow Americans.
I'm trying to persuade people, especially independents, young people who still normally vote for Democrats, and they don't want to cut the government. They want to free stuff and more help with their special courses, special interests.
Right.
But the thing is, though, when country is deeply in debt, everybody got to come together to tie the belt. Just like when I got laid off, 2000, we renowned my husband's job alone. Our family cut the budget 28%. Right. I go shop, in Goodwill, secondhand store. Sure. I start my own company, even though not profitable many years. We all have to have the will determination to say we all have to make a sacrifice together. If you always think government is a savior, without them, we just cannot do things. That's not true. That's not what America succeeded, become the number one, biggest economy. And, sure. It's simple. $1, you do 6 penny plan. It used to be 1 penny plan. For every dollar you cut 1 penny, which could not do that in the past. Now it's 6 penny. That in 5 years you actually can balance budget. But we have to start with a zero-based budgeting. If you have an agency, you are agency head. You start with $1 billion your budget. If you don't spend that money, then you will not get that money back. And next year you will not have that same budgeting base. Why you incentivize people to spend money last minute? Like, go buy a coffee cup for like $100. It's madness. Even defense budget, needs to be actually audited. We need to be more effective. We need to get rid of the waste, fraud, and the bills and the corruption. That's something we need to focus on. But at the same time, people who want to have affordability, want to have a shot at the American dream, you cannot talk from both sides of your mouth. I want this, but I want that. We have to make sacrifice together as a country for the actual long-term, American prosperity.
Sure. So your district has more Democratic voters than Republicans. It supported every presidential candidate since at least 2000, because that's just the way it is. Those are the voters. And they haven't elected a Republican to Congress since 2010. So what's your message that you believe will get these voters who have not elected a Republican in 14 years to make this year different?
Well, the reason I'm running again for 2026, because I overperformed last cycle. I won little over 47% of the CD2 voters. That's the best ever, actually for past 10 years in my district, a Republican can do. And without money to buy a single TV ad, without superPACs and lots of establishment support. So I'm building on that name recognition. And the number two, that my viral debate video went viral too late. I got an RFK endorsement 2 days before the election. So I'm trying to build on that too. So I challenged her to debate me. She refused on 3 college campuses to debate me, but her top issue is democracy. How did you deny the college kids participating in our democratic process and to debate an opponent? Your policy is so weak, you cannot defend it. You have to escape the debate. So my real debate was WMUR. But I'm confident once I go out and challenge her voting record, her policies, and have a rigorous debate, conversations, I think that people who traditionally vote for Democrats might take a look at me seriously. Look, I trust Lily. She overcome all the obstacles come to this country. She is a genuine, real deal. She is going to represent me. And she does not have big PACs and dark money behind her. She raised money all from individual donors. My top donor state is New Hampshire. I'm very proud to say that. And Maggie is from New York. And Hillary Clinton endorsed her. Soros family, gave her money. So what do you trust? Just follow the money. Is she voting to represent your interest? When you have no money, when you are poor, struggling, will she listen to you? Or you trust me to say, hey, I'm for freedom, liberty. I'm not for sale. I will come back to New Hampshire,
Right.
whenever I get a chance to have a town hall, listen to people, explain my vote, and take the beat from my voters. If they're mad at me, well, yell at me. I'm fine.
Right.
I can deal with that, but I will listen to the people.
And there's something important that you didn't mention, which is while you haven't had a lot of national support, whatever super PAC establishment, you've been doing a great job of raising money. How much money do you have on hand right now?
I have near $600,000 cash on
Exactly.
hand.
Yes, I don't think
I'm
people
gonna,
realize that, Lily. I think a lot of people think, oh, I like Lily Tang Williams. I think she's great. I love her energy. I love the clarity of her message, and it's about liberty and the American opportunity. But she doesn't have the resources to run. I'm like, guys, you need to check the paperwork. She's raised plenty of money.
and thank you for your coverage in New Hampshire Journal. I'm the top fundraiser in the U.S. House Republican candidates. And I have a jumping race earlier. I have been working very hard. I hired two good firms to do fundraising for me nationally, but still 62% of my donors are under $200, small donors cross country, because people resonate with my very powerful, unique stories. You know, I just went viral with my 29 seconds of video that in America, if you come here, no matter where you come from, what skin color you have, and if you work hard, embrace American values, and the sky is the limit. Because look, I come here with nothing. When I was 23, I'm running for Congress today. I speak my mind. I tell the truth. That's why I'm blacklisted by CCP. I kind of wish I could be in China now with, with our dedication. But they ban me. They ban me. Said, she's not with us. She's not pro CCP. So they ban me. But I can advise people. I can warn people about what I say in our country. We don't want to go down the wrong path, because when we make a government bigger and bigger and bigger, and like the New York mayor, the socialists and squad people, their progressive policies, Democrat socialism, it's bad for our people, the bad for American dream. I have lived it. I know how that ends. So I have this passion to connect with people, to offer my solutions after I listen to their concerns. We should bring people together. I like to go to communities, have more town halls, have more panel discussions, even have a Gen Z, maybe a town hall to listen to them. So there are so many issues we need to focus on to address those concerns. I just don't think Maggie really represents New Hampshire values in DC.
If you could somehow put Lily Tang Williams into a pill, I would take it every morning for the energy. I just love talking to you. Thank you so much for being part of the podcast. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. I hope you have me back then.